produces features here which are quite different from over here. And it means once we find something on the surface, we have the expectation that it could go down for more than a kilometre. So that's what we call orogenic gold, and that is the basic difference. This is a local heat source of some sort, or a local focusing in a thermal gradient, and here we've got a deep source of fluid which is more or less in thermal equilibrium with its wall rocks. Does everyone understand what I'm saying? And a lot of the genetic, because we're economic geologists, we always want to use high tech. So we use all sorts of isotopes and God knows what to try to tell the difference between that and that, when actually a bit of common sense and a bit of clear geology will do it. It's interesting that the famous geologist Lindgren, American geologist, who wrote a textbook many years ago, and what he said still holds pretty well today. He had no fluid inclusion, no sophisticated equipment, but what he said about the temperature and the origin of these things in general was pretty well right. It shows that we don't need sophistication to understand these stories. So what are the features common to the majority of these? So the atoll near terrain boundaries or other crustal scale faults and shear zones. So if we looked in Egypt, there's obviously a suture between Asia and Europe, essentially, and that may well be in the Red Sea. We don't know where that suture is, but it's clear this is a massive zone of collision between two major continental masses in the Arabian-Nubian Shield. But the gold deposits are not in those zones, they're near them. They're in smaller structures near them and parallel to them often. They've got this large vertical extent, but there isn't much vertical zonation because the fluid's in equilibrium with the rock. So if we go down a kilometre, we've only got a 30-degree gradient, maybe a 50-degree gradient at the most. So there isn't a high temperature gradient. So these things don't show alteration zonation, which all the other deposits do. At low temperatures, this is particularly muscovite or cerussite and carbonate alteration. So the deposits normally form at around 300 degrees, the typical ones, and they occur in breccious facies hose rocks because breccious facies is about that temperature. When we look at what's added, we get silica, potassium, rubidium, barium, sodium, sometimes boron, and in the ore minerals we get gold. These are essentially been called gold-only deposits because they're only economic for gold. We might get about 10% silver in the gold. We often get arsenic, antimony, tellurium, so on, and typically they have low base metals. As I'll show later, they're low salinity, and if we've got a sulfur complex, it likes gold more than it likes lead and zinc and so on, so it will selectively complex with precious metals over base metals, and because we've got low salinity, all the magmatic deposits mostly are higher salinity, so they've always got some base metals in them. This is a low salinity water, CO2 and methane ore fluid. It's a typical crustal fluid. If we go deeper in the crust, this is the common sort of fluid that we see. And as I'll show later on, all the isotope signatures indicate mixed sources. If we go back to our diagram here, we imagine a fluid coming up through here in a terrain. Let's just say it's in one of your Egyptian terrains. You've got granites, you've got serpentinites, you've got basalts, you've got felsic volcanics, and so on. So that fluid is going to go up through all those rock types, and what it does is it takes on the isotopic signature of all of them. So you always get confusion when you're looking at these isotopes. I'll explain that a bit later on. If I get time tomorrow, so I think there's quite a bit of potential mostly Phanerozoic. There are some Precambrian examples. All the Precambrian examples I know are in Africa. They're restricted to shelf environments adjacent to Precambrian cratons normally. So they're relatively shallow water. They're not in the deep oceanic crust. They're in what's often been called intermediate crust in this terrain. Sometimes they occur with tin and tungsten. So we'll be looking for occurrences of these. They're related to a particular type of granite, which I'll explain if we get that far tomorrow. They're often low-grade gold deposits, and they're zoned. Because they're related to granites, they're intrusion-related, they're actually zoned from gold to these elements. So they're different from orogenic gold, but in recent years, there's been a lot of literature that sort of confuses the two types. We look at a sort of classic cartoon of a plate tectonic environment. So if we look in our oceanic arcs, we see epithermal and porphyry coppers. These are near the surface. I've tried to show crustal levels here. So they're near the surface. Most of the volcanogenic massive sulfides that are preserved are probably in back arc. I think we'll hear tomorrow more details of this, and maybe I'm wrong. But most of the oceanic ones don't get preserved, the ones that are forming today, except where we get ophiolite complexes like Cyprus and so on. Most of these are in back arc environments, and they get accreted onto the continental mass over here. They get sort of swept across and accreted onto the mass, often buried by sediments that are coming off the continental mass. They're quite rapidly buried. Then we get in continental arcs, we get more epithermal porphyry coppers here, and it's really in these big fault zones that are related to subduction, originally thrusting, and then later that have the gold. So I've shown those as going almost down to the bottom of the crust over here. They actually come through, I should update this, they come right back into this sort of environment back in here. And then when we look at intrusion-related gold and things like Carlin-type gold, which I also think is magmatic, we're seeing them right back near the old continents, right on the margin. So each one of these deposits has a particular tectonic setting, and the orogenic gold are in the big structures, associated with big structures that relate to accretion. So when this back arc crust is accreted on, or the oceanic islands are accreted on, or when finally the continents collide with each other. So accretion of arcs, and then finally often collision of this mass with this mass here. Whereas these others are occurring way back in the really back arc environment behind the arcs. They occur in almost every belt that's available. So this is just North America. So most of this is covered by volcanics and sediments. So Mount St. Helens is up here. All that volcanic eruptions and so on is covering a lot of the United States and some earlier sediments. But poking as windows through here, we see the original orogenic belts, and wherever we see them, we see gold. So this is the famous Mother Lode, what they call the 49ers, the original alluvial miners that came into North America. And we've got some gold out here. Whereas Carlin, since this is the edge of all these shelf sediments are sitting on the edge, this is all Precambrian rocks out here. They're sitting right on the edge of the Precambrian, and the intrusion-related gold are sitting up here in a very similar position.